Hey there, it's Stephanie Shea, Chief Astrologer for janspiller.com with your monthly astrological overview. This one's the first one of 2022, January's overview. Happy New Year. You're going to be seeing this early in 2021, but I'm going to wish you a Happy New Year early. And January is the beginning of the calendar year for most folks, but this year especially, it's not the right time for new beginnings. January is going to be the month to build on past efforts and resolve issues from the past. If you've been keeping up with these videos or other places where you learn about astrology, you know that Venus is retrograde this month. Venus went retrograde December the 19th and will stay retrograde all the way through January 29th. This is a big deal in astrology because Venus only goes retrograde every 18 months, and that's sort of resetting personal cycle for people based on money, on relationships, and their values. And Venus is moving retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which puts a special emphasis on our time, our money, and our top priorities. I think of Capricorn as taking charge and our authority and what we want to spend our time on. We may be reviewing all of these themes this month. It's so strong in the upcoming astrology. The other thing that's really encouraging people to slow down this month is Mercury stationing retrograde from January 14th to February the 2nd. Now, this is on top of that Venus retrograde, right? So double retrogrades. A lot of people come into the new year and they think, it's January, I'm going to start my new workout routine. I'm going to go out there and meet new people. And the timing just is not right according to astrology. It's much better to slow down, to turn inward, to think about some of the things you want. You can get a lot done during both Venus and Mercury retrograde as long as you're completing things that have already been started. So don't think that it's a waste, because it's definitely not. And it's a great time to reconnect with people from your past and reinstate some routines that you had already successfully maybe last year that fell off your calendar. That can happen to a lot of people over holiday season. This Mercury retrograde coming up is going to span two different signs. So from January 14th to the 24th, it will be in the sign of Aquarius. That is going to help us also reevaluate relationships with Aquarius. I think especially about friendships. And it also brings up feelings of humanitarian consciousness. We may be reviewing our life situation, what we're grateful for, and what we're able to share and help our neighbors, our fellow humans on the planet with. That's a very positive use of Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Now, January 25th to February 3rd, Mercury will move back into Capricorn, and this is a time to be especially careful with business communications, because remember, Venus is retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, which is also sort of business oriented. It's definitely not the month for big purchases or financial decisions. It really would be one of those buyer's remorse situations, most likely. Now, I've always called myself a practical astrologer, as was Jan Spiller, and she would recommend, okay, if you have to make a purchase, your car breaks and you need to get to work or something like this, of course, you've got to purchase it during the retrogrades, but get the best warranty that you can. And if you have a choice and you can wait and get that bigger ticket item after Mercury stations direct, again, after February 2nd, usually it is something that you won't have to return or negotiate the terms of your agreement. And while Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, it is a good time to reach out to business contacts from the past to finish work-related projects. You may even be questioning some of your personal decisions, how practical they are, and if you've discovered, well, that wasn't really a realistic plan of how long something might take, for example, happens to me all the time, then you can revise your schedule. I love Capricorn energy for scheduling, and when Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, I rework my schedule a lot of times to make it more realistic to accomplish what I want. Remember, slow and steady climbs the mountain when it comes to Capricorn energy. Now, here's some more dose of Capricorn for you. The new moon. We start out the month with a January 2nd new moon at 12 degrees Capricorn. Any Cap babies out there born on or around January 2nd, this is a big new moon for you. You are in store for some big new beginnings in your year ahead. Now, just because we've got Mercury coming up retrograde at the time of this new moon, Venus already in retrograde, doesn't mean that you should skip the intention setting. Every new moon, it's really important to write down what you want to manifest. There's such good energy to support intention setting and seed planting at this time. Just know that it could take until about the middle of February to start making those baby steps forward. You're really going to feel the energy pick up this year after March 3rd. That's when we clear the shadow of Venus retrograde. March and April has some really good new beginning astrology because no planets are in retrograde, not even the outers those months. So you can keep those as target months to slowly build in February to really be off to the races in March and April. Now, for what you can set intentions for at this Capricorn new moon, anything to do with long-term goals, leadership, cultivating respect and reputation, career-related goals, and even financial goals, as anything that's building your long-term security, highly supported at this Capricorn new moon. Now, our full moon this month is in the sign of Cancer. It's January the 17th, and it's at 27 degrees of Cancer. If you were born on or around July 20th, or, of course, on January 17th, you're really feeling this full moon energy more so than other people. Take it easy. I'd say the rule for everybody when the full moon is in Cancer is don't take it personally, because it's a very emotional full moon. It can make people feel extra sensitive and vulnerable, and it's a really good time to take a step back and nurture yourself and see how you feel. And a few days after this full moon passes, I think it'll be better if you discover, okay, I do need to address certain issues, keeping in mind, okay, Mercury is going to be coming up retrograde. Big discussions and trying to hash things out is going to be a bit tricky this month, but keep track of what realizations you have at this full moon and know that, okay, maybe in February I'll try to communicate this better. You could do some writing and plan out, what is it that I need to say about expressing my needs? If that's an issue that comes up, it often can at the Cancer full moon. Now, some of the big outer planet astrology this month, the Saturn-Uranus square is still tight this month. It was exact in December. If you follow astrology and hopefully these videos, I've been talking about the Saturn-Uranus square all through 2021. It was one of the bigger outer planet aspects of the year. That's going to continue in 2022, but the square is winding down. It will have one more exact hit in October of 2022, and we will get to say goodbye to this square by the end of the year. Its job is to help us revamp some systems. I'd say it's all about seeing what's sustainable, what's not. It's kind of revolutionary energy. There's a real push-pull between what has already been established or what rules are set up and what other people are feeling, oh, we got to make a big change. This isn't working. And some sort of compromise really needs to be struck. I have an astrology teacher, Emily Trinkus. I've mentioned her before. She's the one who introduced me to Jan Spiller, and she did a class on Venus retrograde that was really good. You know, most astrologers I know still have a teacher. I still go to Emily's classes for my continuing education, and she pointed out that this Venus retrograde cycle is really activating the Saturn-Uranus square, because Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn. And remember, Venus is in Capricorn. And then Uranus in the other side of this square is in Taurus. And Venus rules the sign of Taurus. So Venus is kind of a connecting link between the square this month in particular. I think it's going to have us look to our values and some of the things that we feel are ripe for change as a society, as a planet, and in our personal lives could have to do with what we value, and coming together, hopefully, again, to find those compromises and find the things in common that everybody values. You know, Saturn's in Aquarius, which is so much about the collective. And there's a lot of polarization these days, but I find there's a baseline of a lot of things that everybody wants. You know, everybody wants to feel a sense of security, to feel that, you know, they belong to society, that there's some order, but that we have our freedom. And so this is going to be stirred up this year, and we're going to hopefully be able to work productively with it. Now, we've got Jupiter moving forward in the sign of Pisces. That's going to be happening all year, but I just thought I'd mention it because Jupiter just went into Pisces at the very end of December. This is our first full month of Jupiter in Pisces. This is something that's been kind of making me happy about 2022 because Jupiter expresses so positively in this sign. It's the traditional ruler. It's a lot about keeping the faith, believing in magic, magical things happening, having compassion expand. You know, Jupiter has this expansive energy, and it's in this beautiful, compassionate, loving sign of Pisces. So I think we're going to get some counterbalance to conflict through Jupiter in Pisces, probably through some spiritual leadership as well as artists. I see Jupiter in Pisces this year as a big year for artists. So there's a lot going on, of course, coming up in 2022, and it starts right here in January. I hope you can make the most of this month's astrology. Be safe and be well, and I'll see you here soon with your astrological overview.